Hi everyone, today I'm going to make fried rice for you. This is a very traditional Pakistani fried rice recipe that I'm going to share with you. It's a very popular dish to make on Eid, or it's popular on weddings. It's popular for any occasion. So let's start cooking it. To make the fried rice you need meat. I'm going to use chicken, but as I said before, you can use lamb or beef as well. You need some rice, some yogurt, and if you miss any of these ingredients, don't worry, I will give you a list in this video as well with the quantities of each ingredient. Some red chili powder, some turmeric powder, some garam masala, coriander powder, salt, we're going to need lots and lots of onions, green chilies, roughly chopped garlic, and we are going to need some dried spices as well. Black pepper, corn, cinnamon stick, cloves, some bay leaves, some coriander seeds, and some cumin seeds, and some black cardamom. And some black cardamom. So let's start cooking. To make this dish you need a wide pan. I love using the wide pan because it gives a lot of room to the rice to become nicely cooked and be well separated from each other, instead of cooking everything in one pan and getting squashed. So for this kind of cooking, I always use a bigger pan than what I normally use for cooking the same amount of rice. So add the onions to the pan and let's start frying the onions. So for this dish it's really important how you cook your onions, because you're going to get all the tastes and colors from the onions, and we would like to have this rice to look very brown, and to make the rice very brown, the onions have to be very brown as well. So there is a very fine line before you can actually burn your onions, or you can have them perfectly cooked and have the perfect color. So keep a very close eye when your onions turn golden brown, and it's the time that takes only a couple of seconds before the onions actually get burned. So just keep frying the onions. The way I normally do is I spread all the onions in the pan very well, and once the onions have spread in the pan, I leave them like that for a couple of minutes until they have turned golden brown on one side. And once they have turned golden brown on one side, I just turn them upside down and then cook them from the other side. So I've just left them like that for a couple of minutes. Then I'm gonna change this wooden spoon with a wide spatula. So I'm just gonna mix it one more time, and then I've spread them widely in the pan, and I'm using this wide spatula just to turn them upside down. So now I've turned them upside down, and you can see how nicely brown they look. They have cooked from the other side as well, and this is the time to add the garlic and green chilies and all the dried spices, including cardamom, bay leaves, cinnamon stick, cloves, and black pepper and cumin seeds. And just mix everything together and keep mixing the onion. This is a very critical time, because if you overcook this, the onion gonna get burned, but you need to extract the flavor from the dried spices. So you're gonna cook the dried spices until you have the flavor in the oil. So just keep cooking everything very well, and this is the time when your dried spices have cooked very well and your onions are looking nicely golden brown. So I would have at this time a glass with water in it just next to me while I'm cooking, and I'm gonna keep cooking them until I feel like if I cook the onion little bit more, they're going to get burned. So I'm keeping a close eye on the onion, and I have a glass or water with just next to the stove so that I can quickly put that water into the pan and stop the cooking process. So while I'm cooking the onion, I'm gonna add all the other spices as well, just to fry them in the oil and extract all the flavor from the spices. So just fry them quickly for a couple of minutes, and this is the time you add water. So I'm adding almost half a glass of water into the pan to stop the cooking process and to stop the onions getting fried further and getting burned. And now I'm gonna mix everything together, and I'm going to extract the color from the onions into the water. It's very important you do this step, because that way all the color of the onions goes into the water and this water colors the rice. So just keep cooking everything together, and look how brown and dark your onions have turned. So if I have cooked for another minute or two, the onions would have burned. So just keep cooking the water and let it simmer for a couple of minutes so that all the color and flavor from the onion is gone into the water. And keep cooking until your onions are looking much softer. Now the onions have started to look a bit more softer. Now the onions have properly softened, and they have given all their color to water, and the water is looking very nice brown color. And it's the time I'm going to add the yogurt to this water mixture. So just add the yogurt to the water mixture. It's very important to have your onions nicely softened before you add the yogurt, because once you add the yogurt, the onions, they don't become softened because of the yogurt. For some reason they stay hard if you add if you add yogurt before the onions are properly softened. So I would just not add the yogurt until I am happy with the softness of the onions. And it's important to have the onions soft, because that way they combine very well with the rest of the sauce, and then you won't be able to see the hard onions or taste the onions when you are eating the rice. If you don't have a problem with onions being hard and crispy, then that's fine, you can leave it like that as well. So let's keep cooking until the yogurt has very well cooked. And the rule of thumb of knowing when the yogurt is cooked is very simple. When you start seeing a layer of oil getting formed on top of the sauce, then you know that your yogurt has been properly cooked. Just to speed up the cooking process, I covered the lid and let everything simmer together for 5 minutes until I see a layer of oil getting separated from the rest of the sauce. You can see it here. So now the oil has very well separated from the rest of the mixture. It is the time that we can add the chicken to this mixture, because we are going to use this oil for frying the chicken. If we add chicken before the oil is separated from the mixture, then we are going to have a very strange smell of raw chicken, fishy smell of the chicken, which is disgusting to have. So it's very important that you have the oil, you can see the oil in the pan before you add the chicken. So now is the time to add the chicken. And once you have added the chicken to the pan, just mix it very well with the rest of the sauce and let it cook and fry in the sauce. That way this chicken is going to absorb a lot of flavor from this mixture and is going to get fried at the same time. So just keep it frying, and once the chicken has changed its color to golden brown, we know it's been properly cooked. And this is the time when you just stop mixing too much, because Usually I leave the chicken like that. I spread it all over the pan and then leave it like that for 5-6 minutes, and then I turn it upside down and cook from the other side. That way it cooks faster than if you keep continuously mixing it, because when we are mixing it at the same time we are releasing the heat, and which we don't want. We would like to keep the heat in the pan. So just don't mix it too much. Just let it sit there for a couple of minutes until you turn it upside down and mix it again. And again, you would know that your chicken has cooked and your sauce has cooked properly once you see the chicken has changed its color, and then you can see a layer of the oil getting separated from the rest of the mixture. You can see the oil on the edges of the mixture, and that's how you know that it's the time that the sauce has properly cooked. Until then, just keep cooking. See, now you can see a thin layer of oil on the edges. At this stage, you know that it's the time to stop the frying, and the chicken is looking nicely colored, and there is this nice and beautiful layer of oil on the edges. This is perfect. And I can see the chicken has completely changed its color to golden brown. This is all looking perfect, and I can smell the delicious chicken at this stage. When I'm cooking this chicken, my whole house is full of the smell, and you can smell it from the street. And I've been asked by my neighbors so many times what I'm cooking when I have this rice on the stove. It's so flavorsome, it's so delicious, and it smells amazing. So at this time, you add the water to the pan. So for the water, the rule is usually have double the water compared to rice. For example, if you have 2 cups of rice, you use 4 cups of water. But I normally add 1 cup less than what I actually have. For example, for 4 cups of rice, I would add 7 cups of water. So I would always have water a little bit less. And there is a reason for that, because if there is too much water in the pan, the rice don't cook very well. They become very sticky, and it doesn't look very nice and doesn't taste very good. So I have discovered over the years that it's always better to have 1 or half a cup less of water. And remember, there is already some water in the sauce that we just made. So that's why I use only 3 cups of water instead of 4 cups of water if you have 2 cups of rice. And at this stage, you can mix the rice really well. It's okay to mix the rice because you can't break the rice. They're quite hard at this stage. So mix everything very well and start tasting the rice. Start tasting this water, rice water, for salt or chili or anything that it might need. I think it needs a little bit more of the salt, so I have added more salt. And for this rice, when you're tasting the salt, make sure it is more towards the salty side than being less salty, because when the rice get cooked, it won't be that salty. So just keep it slightly more salty than what you normally leave. So add little bit more salt. Not too much, because otherwise it would be bitter, but if you add little bit more salt, then it would turn out amazing. And then cover it and cook it on high heat until you see that most of the water has disappeared and very little water is left behind. So now this is the time when you cover your rice with this much water and let it cook on low flame, medium to low flame for 15 minutes. So at this stage, like this much flame should be enough, or maybe slightly less than this, so that you know that you can't burn your rice. So this flame was slightly less to avoid burning the rice in case you forget. So let it cook without disturbing the rice, without opening the lid, for 10 to 15 minutes. And after 10-15 minutes, when you open the lid, you're gonna see these delicious rice particles getting separated from each other. It always turns out amazing, and look how beautifully these rice particles are separated from each other, and how beautiful the color is. And we usually serve it with the mint dip. And to make the mint dip, you need some salt, yogurt, some coriander, fresh coriander leaves, some garlic, and some fresh mint, and some green chilies. I've removed the seeds from the chilies, but you can use the whole chili as well, because we are going to blend everything together. And you don't have to chop the garlic as well. It's just I had a lot of chopped garlic, so I just left some for this sauce. So just add everything to the blender. Add a little bit of water, not a lot, just a little bit, to help with the mixing and blending process. Just blend it. Just blend it very well until everything has nicely combined. Add the salt to the yogurt. And add a couple of spoons of the mint dip. I usually keep adding the mint dip and keep tasting the dip until I like the taste. So I will keep adding and mixing and adding and mixing until I like the taste. This is the time that you can also taste it a little bit for salt and spiciness. If it is too hot, you can always add more yogurt, and if it is less hot, you can add more of the mint mixture that we just made. So here we have it, our mint dip, and let's serve it with rice. Usually I serve these rice with very simple salad, because we don't need any salad seasoning. All the taste is from the rice. So the rice are very flavorsome, therefore we have very simple salad there. Garnish it with fresh coriander, chilies, or fried onion shallots, whatever you have. And let's start eating it. Hope you like this recipe. If you like it, please don't forget to share and subscribe my channel, and also like this video. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye. Hello everyone, today I'm going to share the Nasi goreng recipe with you. This is my all-time favorite recipe. I got this recipe from a friend of mine. He's a chef, and he only shared the recipe with me if I shared a chicken curry recipe with him. So let's start cooking it without any further delay. You can use any kind of meat. I'm using chicken meat, thinly sliced. And I've thinly sliced my vegetables, including green capsicums, red capsicums, and some carrots and white onion. I'm going to use 3 eggs, and we're going to make sambal paste with onion, garlic, and red chilies. I'm using bird eyes chili. They're quite hot. Some black pepper and salt. And the sauces that you need are sweet soy sauce. This is the one that gives it very different taste, and some oyster sauce. So let's start making the sambal paste. To make the sambal paste, add your onion, red chilies and garlic to a blender and blend it very well until you see everything is combined and it has formed the paste like this. And make sure you don't add any water to it, otherwise you would taste raw onions in your rice. And I've steamed the rice in the rice cooker, and it's usually better to use leftover rice, but I didn't have any, so I just steamed fresh. Add some oil to a pan. I prefer to use a wide pan for cooking because it makes mixing very easier. So when the oil has become really hot, add the sambal paste to the oil. Just mix everything very well. And I've added a little bit more oil because the onion soaked, they absorbed all the oil, and I thought it wasn't enough. So add a bit more oil and keep frying until you see light brown or golden color on the sambal mix. So once the sambal mix has changed its color, it's time to add the meat. Just mix everything together very well until all the ingredients have well combined and the chicken is very well coated with the sambal mix. Just keep frying the chicken until the chicken changes its color to golden brown, and all the cooking is being done on high flame. So keep your flame high. And now the chicken has completely changed its color and it has gone to golden brown and it has completely fried. It's the time I'm going to add the eggs to the pan. So just take 2 eggs, and we're gonna keep the 3rd egg because we are going to serve this this nasi goreng rice with the fried egg. So add the eggs to the pan and let them cook a little bit from the bottom, and once they have cooked a little bit, not too much, then you can start mixing them together. It's more like cooking these scrambled eggs. And once the eggs have cooked properly, just start mixing them with the chicken. Just mix and fry everything very well together for another minute or two. And after that, start adding the vegetables. The one that takes the longest time to cook goes to the pan first. So we have added the carrots because they take the longest to cook. And make sure you don't overcook the vegetables because we would like to keep the crunch from the vegetables. So just cook the carrot for 2 to 3 minutes on high flame, and that should be enough. And then after that, add some salt and pepper. Mix everything very well. Add some white onions. And cook the white onions for 2 to 3 minutes, and then add the capsicums. And once you have added the capsicum, you just need less than a minute of cooking because they're gonna keep cooking when you add the rice as well. So just mix everything very well, and then at this stage it's the time to start adding the rice. Just add the rice gradually and keep mixing. It's very important to fry these rice in the oil and add the rice before you add the sauces. Once you have fried the rice with everything else, then it's the time to add the sauces. So I have added the sweet soy sauce. If you don't have the sweet soy sauce, just mix dark soy sauce and light soy sauce equal quantities and add some sugar to it, and then you have your sweet soy sauce ready. And I also added some oyster sauce. And then after adding the sauces, just mix everything very well so that the sauces have very well combined with the rice and vegetables and chicken. So keep stirring, keep mixing and frying on high flame for about 2 to 3 minutes until you see the rice and all the vegetables have very well combined with the other ingredients. And now the cooking of nasi goreng is almost done, so I'm gonna taste some salt and other sauces if it needs anything else. And this is the time to add, adjust your taste if you like. So now the rice are cooked. I'm going to fry the egg in another pan, and I've turned down the heat, and I'm going to leave the pan open because I would like to have a nice crispy layer at the bottom of the rice. So this is what's happening in the other pan. So just leave it like that, and it will form a very nice crispy layer of rice at the bottom, which I really like, but you don't have to do that step. Now add an egg to the pan and fry it the way you like. I like a very well cooked egg, so I'm gonna cook it until the yolk has completely cooked, but you can leave the yolk raw and enjoy it like that. So now the egg is properly cooked. It's the time to start plating and serving this dish. So let's start plating everything. So I'm going to take that in a bowl and then put an egg on top of it. You can also add some fried onions as well with this. They taste really good. I'm going to have some spring onion on top of it and some red chilies for garnishing. And here you have it, your nasi goreng is ready. Please try this at home and let me know if you like it. Please make sure you like, subscribe and share my channel. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Hi everyone, today I'm going to share my all-time favorite recipe with you. This dish is called biryani. It is made from curried meat, and when you mix curried meat and rice together, the result is just delicious. This is usually served with the yogurt dip. This yogurt dip is made from mint. I'm going to share the recipe for the dip as well. So let's start cooking it. You need lots and lots of chopped onions, chopped tomatoes, green chilies, and if you miss any ingredient, don't worry about it. I'm going to share the quantities and the list of ingredients with you in a minute. You also need more onions, which are thinly sliced. We are going to use these onions for frying and garnishing. Some chopped garlic, and you need lots of Indian spices. We have salt, coriander powder, red chili, cumin powder, garam masala and turmeric. You need bay leaves, black peppercorn, black cardamom, green cardamom, and some cloves. And some yogurt. I'm using light Greek style, but you can use natural yogurt and full cream yogurt as well. That's all fine. And meat. I'm using chicken for the meat, but you can also replace chicken with lamb or beef. But if you're using lamb or beef, that would require extra cooking time, or you can use a pressure cooker to speed up the cooking time. It's up to you. So let's start cooking it. Take a wok and add some oil to it, and then in a separate pan start frying your onions. We are going to use these onions for garnishing. So let's add your onions to both the pans. So just keep frying the onions until they turn golden brown. For making the biryani, we don't need our onions to be dark brown. They just need to have a light golden color, and that should be good, because we are getting the color from turmeric, not from the onions. And while the onions are cooking, I have already started making the yogurt dip. So to make the yogurt dip, I'm just going to have mint and coriander. I have washed them, so I am going to add, so let's show it properly. So I'm going to have equal quantities of mint and coriander and 1 chili. So I'm just going to add all these 3 ingredients to a blender. Just gonna blend them very well with a little bit of water that helps with mixing and blending. So let's have a look at the onions. The onions have changed their color and have turned into golden brown, and this is the time to add the meat. So add your meat to the onion mix with the garlic and just mix everything really well. At the same time, keep your onions, keep an eye on the onions that you're frying in a separate pan. And after adding meat, it's the time to add all the dried spices, including bay leaves, black peppercorn, green cardamom, black cardamom to the pan, because we are going to extract all the taste from these dried spices into the oil. So keep frying the chicken until you see a golden color. So now the chicken has changed its color to golden brown. It's the time to add all the other dried spices. So in a minute I'm going to add all the other powdered spices to this chicken. And after adding these dried spices, just mix everything very well together so that the taste has well combined. Just keep mixing and frying your spices that you have just added for another minute or two until you see all the ingredients have well combined and have fried in the oil. At this stage you should see no water in the pan, because if there is even very little water from the chicken in the pan, it means that you're gonna smell the raw chicken in your curry dish. So just keep cooking until all the water from chicken has completely dried. And when you would know this when your chicken has changed the color, and then you can see some oil getting separated from the chicken. And at this stage you should add your tomatoes. If you don't see the oil getting separated from the chicken, don't add tomatoes, because that would give more water to the dish. So just dry all the water from the chicken very well, unless your dish, your biryani wouldn't smell nice. So now add your tomatoes and just keep mixing everything very well and frying it together with the chicken. So it's important not to add yogurt just after the tomatoes, otherwise your tomatoes wouldn't soften very easily. So I have done that in the past, and it's something that you shouldn't do. So cook your tomatoes until they have softened. So to make sure the tomatoes are soft properly before I add the yogurt, I have covered the lid, and now the tomatoes are getting cooked into the heat, and you can see how they are getting softer and softer with the time. So I will keep cooking it a little bit more so that they are properly softened and they mix very well to make a nice curry. So I'm just smashing the tomatoes while I go to speed up the cooking process. Now at this time I'm adding the yogurt, because I think the tomatoes have softened very well and they are combining very well with the curry, and it's looking like a nice curry. So as soon as you add yogurt, it's very important to start stirring, otherwise the yogurt would precipitate and it would form big lumps in the curry, which is not good, and it doesn't taste good, it doesn't look good. So make sure you start stirring your curry as soon as you add the yogurt. So keep mixing everything together and keep cooking curry. And all the cooking for this dish, I did it on high flame. So at this stage you can taste the salt and see if it needs more salt. And again keep mixing, and then I'm gonna cover the lid just to speed up the cooking process. So once you add the yogurt, you have to keep cooking. Again, you would know when your cooking is finished by just looking at the color of the curry, and you would be able to see that the oil has separated from the curry. So this is the point when you know that your yogurt has been properly. So just keep cooking until you see a layer of oil getting separated on top of the curry. So my man took out some of the curry because he's too impatient for it to finish cooking, so he's gonna eat it just with the steamed rice. So I'm just gonna leave it like that until I see a layer of oil is getting formed on top of the curry. And if you don't have enough oil in the curry, you won't see a layer on top of the curry. So here is him stealing more curry out of my pan. So at this stage I realize it doesn't have enough oil, so I'm going to add a bit more oil and just mix it very well. Just let it cook for some time until you see the oil has separated on the edges of your curry. So now our curry is ready. I'm going to taste the salt and chilies at this time and going to adjust the spices if needed. So I added a little bit more salt. Now the curry is off the heat. And in a separate pan, I'm going to form the layers of rice and curry, one after the other. So I have already steamed the rice in a rice cooker. So I'm going to make one layer of rice and one layer of curry. So the first layer is always rice, because if you have curry at the bottom, you're gonna burn the curry, because we are going to cook it for another 15 minutes once we have made the layers. And at this stage you can add your fried onions, the one that you fried separately. Just add enough curry that's good for covering the rice. Doesn't have to be exact quantities, just divide the layers in your head and you know how much curry to use for each layer. So I'm going to cover all the curry with the rice until I don't see the curry anymore. And keep making these layers. You can also add some fresh coriander if you like, and some green chilies in between the layers. And just keep repeating the process until you're finished, and the top and bottom layer is always the rice. So now we have finished the layering, and I'm gonna cover the lid and going to cook it for another 10 to 15 minutes on a very low flame. And now open it after 10 to 15 minutes of cooking and just mix everything very well, and make sure you don't break the rice. And the good way of mixing is usually trying to mix from the edges and making your way to the middle. So this is how I mix it properly, so that you don't break the rice, because otherwise it doesn't look nice. And the rice that we are using for this recipe are basmati rice. You can find them from Indian grocery stores. And it's always a good idea to ask the shopkeeper which rice are best. They usually are very good, and they would tell you which rice are going to turn out really well and going to have really long grain and going to be very well separated from each other after cooking. So let's finish making the yogurt dip. So the mixture that I have, I'm just going to add that to the yogurt. So this mixture is usually very spicy, so I keep adding it to the yogurt dip and mixing, and then taste it. And once the taste is to my liking, I just stop adding the mint and coriander mixture to the yogurt dip. Add some salt as well. And make sure you taste it. And once the taste is to your liking, then it's ready for you. So let's serve the yogurt dip with rice, and it's ready for eating. I hope you like this recipe. Please like, subscribe and share my channel. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy. Hi everyone, today I'm going to share the fried rice recipe with you. This is one of the simplest and easiest recipe that you can make on any evening when you're tired and don't want to spend hours and hours in the kitchen. I usually make it when I have leftover rice from the night before. I can find easily all the other ingredients in my pantry, So without any further delay, let's start making this fried rice. To make the fried rice, these are the ingredients that you need. If you miss anything, don't worry about it. I'm going to share the list of ingredients with quantities with you in this video. So you need vegetables. I'm using green capsicums and carrots, but you can use green peas or any other vegetables that you have in your kitchen. Some chopped garlic, ginger powder, you can use fresh ginger as well, black pepper and salt, an egg, and some meat. I'm using chicken meat, but you can use lamb or beef. Make sure it's very thinly sliced to speed up the cooking time. Some hot sauce, some vinegar. I'm using malt vinegar, but you can use white vinegar as well, and some soy sauce and sesame oil. So let's start cooking it. Add the olive oil to a pan. I prefer to use a wide pan because I've mentioned it before, it makes mixing and frying very easy. So once the oil has heated up, add the garlic. Make sure the oil is not too hot, otherwise the garlic is going to burn in second and it won't taste nice. So when the oil is just hot, add the garlic to the pan and start cooking it. Start frying the garlic in the oil. And make sure you don't fry your garlic too much. Just fry it for a minute or two and that's enough. And once the garlic has fried for a minute or two, add the meat to the pan and keep frying the meat until the meat changes its color to golden brown or light brown and you don't see the pink color anymore. So now the meat has changed its color to light brown and golden brown. I'm going to add some sesame oil. It's also important not to burn the sesame oil because the sesame oil doesn't taste good when it's burned. So that's why I'm adding it once I have fried the chicken. So just mix the sesame oil very well with the chicken. And in the side of the pan, just crack an egg. And just scramble it. I don't like to stir it a lot in the beginning, otherwise it just turns into very thin threads and it doesn't look nice and it doesn't taste good. So I just like to eat and see big chunks of the egg in the rice rather than thin threads. So that's why I don't mix it too much. So after cooking the egg, just mix it nicely with the chicken and let it cook for another minute or two, and at the same time add your garlic, black pepper and salt to the pan. Just mix everything together. Until all the ingredients have very well combined. Then it's the time to add the vegetables. I usually add carrots or any vegetable that take longer to cook. I add them first to the pan and then cook them for an additional 1 or 2 minutes before I add any other vegetables. So just cook the carrots for a minute or two. And then it's the time to add the green capsicums. Make sure you don't cook the carrots too much because we don't want to go them soggy. We would still like to have the crunch from carrots and from the capsicum. So just cook your vegetable for a minute or two, not more than that. And now it's time to add the rice. And while adding the rice, I'm breaking them because these rice are from last night and that's why they form a big clump. So I'm just breaking the rice nicely before adding them to the pan. So once all the rice have separated from each other, you're gonna mix the rice with everything else. So just keep mixing until the rice have very well mixed with the vegetables and chicken. Just break any big lumps that you see while you go. This dish is literally so easy to cook. It literally takes 15 minutes and it's ready on your table under 15 minutes. It's my favorite recipe. Just keep mixing and frying the rice. Keep the flame on high. And now it's time to add the soy sauce, vinegar, and hot sauce to the mixture. Just mix everything very well. Just getting the last drop of hot sauce into the pan because I just love the hot sauce. So keep mixing everything together and keep frying until all the ingredients have nicely combined, and the flame should be high throughout the cooking. And again, at the end of the cooking, I like to leave the rice in the pan for a little bit longer on medium to low heat, just to have a nice crispy layer at the bottom. I really like the crispy rice, so this is my way of making the crispy rice. And just stir it after every 3 to 4 minutes, and that way you would have really crispy fried rice. So I'm gonna leave it like that for a couple of minutes and then I'm gonna mix again. And this is the time to taste for salt or any sauces that it might need. That way we have really nice and crispy fried rice. So just left it for a couple of minutes to have a nice crispy layer at the bottom and then mixed everything again. And this is additional steps, you don't have to do it, but I really love the crispy fried rice. And now they're ready for eating. So I'm just gonna plate them out in a serving plate, and at this stage you can add some fried onion shallots on top of it and some spring onions. And here you have it, your favorite fried rice. I hope you like this recipe, and if you like it, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy!